Hi, I'm Shannon, and welcome to An Artist Explains Cybersecurity. I'm Shannon, and I'm not a cybersecurity expert. But in this day and age, pretty much everyone has to be in order to stay safe on the internet, or at least that's what it feels like. I used to run my own art business, and I wasn't utilizing even the most basic safety practices. If you're like me, all your energy goes into running your business, creating art, making things, and there's not much left over for cybersecurity or staying safe online. But I'm learning with Team Password because it's never too late to start protecting yourself, especially when there's so much on the line. So stick around while I explain the convoluted world of cybersecurity from an artist's perspective. Today's topic is cyber hygiene. Before we jump into it, let's define cyber hygiene. Cyber hygiene refers to fundamental cybersecurity best practices that an organization or an individual can undertake. As you have personal hygiene practices to maintain your own health, cyber hygiene best practices help to protect your network and your assets. With a definition in hand, I began my journey to discover how I could improve my cybersecurity habits. And, well, I've learned two things. One, it's a lot easier to get your information stolen online than you'd think. Two, it's also a lot easier to protect yourself. And let me tell you, the average person has horrendous cyber hygiene practices. Before I took a deep dive into cyber hygiene, I pretty much had a head in the sand mindset about internet safety. I didn't know what I could be doing to protect myself, and I felt better pretending like I wasn't a target. The sad news is even if you're just one individual, the fact that you have bad cybersecurity habits makes you a target. So how do you know if your cyber hygiene stinks and you need to go give your computer a virtual shower? Here's the basics. A good cyber hygiene routine is made up of 3 parts that we'll be talking about today: strong passwords, antivirus and software updates, and scam awareness. Let's break it down, starting with passwords. Here are the characteristics of a strong password. Strong passwords should be at least 12 characters. The more characters, the better. They should be a mixture of uppercase and lowercase letters, numbers, and include at least 1 or more special characters. For example, an exclamation point, or an @ symbol, a pound sign, a question mark. Strong passwords are hard to guess, but easy for you to remember. This is where a passphrase can come in. A passphrase is a string of words or phrase that you can use in place of a password. Passphrases are usually sentence-like, making them easier to remember whilst still having upwards of 20 characters. A password that has to be written down is not strong, no matter how many of the above characteristics are used. Passwords should not contain any personal information like your birthday, names of pets or friends, social security numbers, or addresses. Change your passwords regularly. Always change your password if you have even the slightest suspicion that the password has become known by a human or a machine. Don't tell anyone your password and never write your password down. Always enable multi-factor authentication. Any of your accounts ever get compromised, you'll be the first to know, and you can stop it in its track, change your password, and know that you're safe. Use a password manager. Using a service to manage your passwords and remember your login credentials provides an easy way to incorporate strong, unique passwords without the need for memorization. So, what does this mean for us? What is a passphrase? And will following these rules really protect you from cyber criminals? Well, I had the chance to talk to Donnie Hasseltine, the CFO for Xenon, and our resident cybersecurity expert for Artist Explains.
I mean, if you do the basics, you cover down and knock out probably 80% of the threats out there.
I've had some pretty bad habits.
What's your worst cybersecurity habit?
Probably reusing passwords.
Yeah. Why is reusing your password bad?
Because even though if it might be a strong password, if there is one data breach on one site, and they just go plug it in to all these sites, or they don't even have to know what accounts you have. They can just go randomly put it into all of these sites and get access to your accounts. They like don't even have to try at that point.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, and when you say your passwords are strong by what they recommend, give me an don't give me your actual password, but give me an example of why it's a strong one.
It's not like my high school, my dog's name, the place I was born. It's, numbers, letters, symbols, and stuff like that. But it's ones that I can remember.
Nothing that I question that when you say, but they're ones that I can remember.
Right, exactly. So
because are you thinking of a word that you're substituting certain parts of the word with?
No, it has absolutely no correlation with the word.
Okay. Length is the ultimate arbiter for passwords. What I try to tell people is use passphrases for assembly of things, right? Because you can tell a story and it's a lot easier to remember, and they can be a goofy story. So you can say like, candy canes are green only in December.
Oh, right? Okay.
Might make sense or not make sense, but I guarantee you, like, as weird as that is, that'll stick in your head. Like, you'll remember that tomorrow, right? But it's probably 30 characters long, right? So now you're getting a point where it's a lot harder to crack that.
I wasn't sure exactly how that's more secure than just like the jumbled randomized. Looks like you keyboard bash something into it.
Completely randomized is always better. A long password that's completely randomized is always better. But that gets the point of like, ideally you use a password manager, right? And using that password manager, you click generate password, you generate a strong random thing. The average criminal that's looking after you is gonna be like, they're going to struggle and not get anything, and they're going to move on to something else.
Basically, longer passwords will take exponentially longer for a computer to crack. As you vary the characters with numbers, symbols, and uppercase and lowercase letters, it takes the computer more and more time to crack. So a password with only 4 characters made up of only numbers would take no time to crack. A computer would guess it instantly. But a password with 18 characters, also only numbers, would take 9 months. To make it even crazier, if you add letters, both uppercase and lowercase, and symbols, it then takes the computer 7 quadrillion years to crack. All because it has to go through every possible combination.
I would say think passphrase. Because it's just a lot easier to remember a sentence than a really complex word. And length is better than complexity. I know that I am the worst with this, or at least I was. I'm really happy to say that I'm not anymore. I would really recommend, whether you're a business or an individual, getting a password manager. This allows you to create long, unique, and secure passwords without having to remember them all. For businesses, I would recommend Team Password, of course, but for individuals, there are a lot of free password manager options out there for you to use. You'll never have to remember a password again. If you're running a business or hiring your very first employees, try Team Password. It's an affordable password manager for teams. Team Password uses browser extensions, so it can be used anywhere on any device, and you can manage who has what passwords by only sharing credentials with the people who need them. You can create unique passwords with Team Password's built-in password generator, and you can know that they're kept safe with 2-factor authentication and state-of-the-art encryption tech. Sign up for a 14-day free trial and test out the peace of mind of knowing that you're safe online. Now back to the video. If we teach people the right things, hey, you know what? Don't click on an email you don't recognize. That right there knocks out most of the vectors. Most of the access points are not someone cracking your password. It's not someone finding your exposed password. Those are certainly methods. It's someone sends you an email and you click the link and it takes you a page that says log in here, and you log in and they just steal your password and then go try it.
A lot of these scams are so low tech too. It's ridiculous because in my mind, before I started learning about this, it was, you think of the guy in the hoodie with just numbers on the screen, which is totally not realistic. They're very simple. And I think that's why they get people.
We a lot of times get captured in this mindset of like Stuxnet and Russian hackers. Hey, look, those are all threats, don't be wrong, but they all have different methodology. They all have different goals in mind. The average person, however, is dealing with just low-level criminals who are looking at the easiest way to steal their money or otherwise compromise their stuff. You made a great point earlier. Everybody needs it, no matter whether you're whether your grandmother needs it, log it in, or you're a Fortune 100 company, you need it. The question is how much do you need and what flavor?
People have so much that they're thinking about, so much in their lives. Small business owners that maybe have they're hiring their first employees and don't know anything about this, and they're just trying to stay afloat. Have some of the worst cybersecurity hygiene habits out there. It's just a huge threat for them that would absolutely wipe them out if they became a victim. And if there's a way to make it to where it's not so intimidating, the world of internet safety and cybersecurity, it's scary to think about it. The moment you start to think about it, if you do have bad habits, you just want to stop thinking about it.
Yeah, it means it's a very natural human reaction. And that's what most people do. Like, you know what, ignorance is bliss, right? And that's really a dangerous thing to have in cybersecurity. What you want to do is make it hard enough that they're like, we'll go find, because there's plenty of people that aren't doing any of these things.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're doing the basics, that just puts you in a different category where, someone's like, think of like from a physical standpoint, right? You've seen cases where criminals break into cars. A lot of times what they do is they walk in the street and they just try every door. Right? And if it's locked, they just move on. If it's unlocked, then they see if they can get in the glove box. That's what you're trying to do. How can I just show off a strong posture to indicate that it's not worth it? Because honestly, look, if it's again, a nation state, they're going to break in, right? I mean, you can't stop that level of attack, but nor should you be worried about that level of attack. Because what are the chances they're looking for you and there's not much you can do when you don't have a budget or time or to deal with that sort of stuff. So stop focusing on the big, flashy, crazy cyber attacks. Focus on, can we knock out the highest amount of low-level criminal activity by good cyber hygiene and posture? Don't be a target, but if you have to be a target, be a hard target.
One of the major points that we went over was the fact that you are never too small to be a target. There are two types of cyber criminals that are prevalent. The good news is that you are a target to small, petty cyber criminals. Cyber criminals who aren't going to spend that much time trying to hack your account. You don't need an extremely sophisticated system in order to prevent these people from getting your information. Unless a nation state is trying to hack your information, most petty cyber criminals are going to give up. Let's talk about software. Software is a really interesting one because I think that it's one that most people don't think about. When we think about cybersecurity, passwords usually come to mind, but most people don't have solutions for how to remember all those passwords. With software, it's just this inconvenient thing that pops up on your computer every few months. Update computer, update software, software update available. I used to be the person that would just postpone and postpone and postpone until eventually it's going to take hours and hours and hours to update that computer. The best thing that you can do for yourself is update the computer when it shows up. Give yourself a 30-minute coffee break when your computer prompts you to update your software. A lot of times, those software updates include patches that will update security. Here's the conclusion. The odds that you might be hacked in this day and age are quite high, especially if you have no safety precautions in place. But in order to protect yourself, all you have to do is don't be the slowest person running away from the bear. The odds that there are other people out there who are more vulnerable than you are very high. And while that's sad, all you have to do is have the basic protections in place to where it's inconvenient enough to try to hack you.
If you're using a password manager, you have an antivirus system on your computer, and you understand, you take some basic cybersecurity training, or understand, like, don't click on links, understand phishing, understand the basic concepts, that will knock out 80% of threats out there.
You're going to be too much of an inconvenience for them to want to hack you. There's more people out there who are going to be an easier target, essentially. And unless a nation state decides that they want to start hacking random civilians, then you're probably going to be fine. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that this inspired you to take cybersecurity more seriously, no matter who you are or what position you're in. In this digital age, everyone's a target, and we want to make sure that your assets and your network are protected. Now I have to go because it's time for me to go update my passwords. Bye, everybody. Sign up for a 14-day free trial and test out the peace of mind of knowing that you're safe online. If you want to learn more about cybersecurity and data security, check out Treehouse. Treehouse is an online learning community that's a great place to learn anything tech.